You were in the National Assembly when his nomination was rejected.
Yes.
And I was announced.
Yes.
How did you feel?
I was actually with him. I'll give a background here, okay? This started when, and even though this is involved, there are things that you probably know this because you have your sources probably better than me. But there seemed to have been an energy to maintain the APC ticket in the north. Now, that I don't believe in zoning. I really don't. But I also believe in common sense. Okay, I also believe there's no Nigerian group that is more special than any. I believe the talent of presidents like President Babangida and President Obasanjo was they knew quality people across the geopolitical zones of the country. But there seemed to have been an error on APC's part. To some people in APC thought maybe to retain the presidential ticket in the north. That would have destroyed our party and would have thrown Nigeria into a crisis after 8 years of President Buhari. Okay? I think everybody knows the role my father and a few other governors played in insisting that the presidency be zoned to the south. This was before President Asiwaju's Emilokon speech. Some of us thought that if after 8 years of Buhari, power had retained in the south, the APC on its own will be fragmented and will lose the election. Because even though many Nigerians don't believe in zoning, they'd rather adhere to competence, there is political agreement. For example, if while campaigning I told my people I'm only running for one term, even if I cure cancer, after that one term, if I come to run again, they'd say that wasn't the agreement. Clearly, it's PDP that even has it in their constitution. I've read the APC constitution at least 100 times. We don't mention zoning in our party. But there is an agreement that after power in the north, it goes to the south, unless there are exceptional circumstances, like when President Aradua passed away, God rest his soul, and President Jonathan took over. Now, it was very disappointing, to answer your question. It still is. Because myself, my mentor, the governor of Kaduna, Basani, and my friend, who was my father's commissioner, Hafiz Bayero, played a key role in convincing my father to agree to work with this current government. He didn't want it. Now, it's hard for Nigerians to believe it because they think everybody wants to be minister. My wife knows that there are many nights that I come back and I tell her I don't even want my seat now. So to be fair with him, he didn't want the job. We convinced him that from the antecedents of President Asiwaju, he will create an excellent team as he did in Lagos. The president wanted to work with him. When he came to Kaduna, it was clear that he wanted that. And in-house, we, in a very difficult way, convinced him to agree to be minister. And we had an idea what his portfolio would be. It was meant to be power and gas. He insisted to the president in private that Nigeria will not sort its electricity issue if gas is not put under the component of power. The irony is there is nothing that has been as rough as lack of power in the last 2 weeks. You can say what you want about Nasir El-Rufai, but if you give him an assignment, they do it well. So I'm disappointed because Nigeria lost an effective administrator, a person that is willing to take difficult decisions to solve a problem that unless we solve, Ebon, we're not going to go anywhere. Russia electrified their country in 1921. How can a business in Nigeria, how can a small business compete with a similar competitor in Accra when 50% of their operating costs is going to diesel? So whether we like it or not, we have to sit down and solve this power issue. Unfortunately, I don't think we're doing it now. It's too early to call out the minister, Adil Abu, and it's more than the minister. You have the discourse, how they were sold out, but that's another topic. But I escorted him to the screening. We suspected something was going on. immediately after we know what went on. We know it now. But I think he's sort of relieved, because he kept saying if he accepts something from Ashwaju, they will look at him and say he kept insisting power should go to the south because he wants to be minister. He didn't. I take it hard because I know the role I played, not as his son. I remember telling him that this time around, I'm not speaking as your son. I'm speaking as a representative of your local government, that you should consider its duty, its public service. If you can help, help. So it was a very tough period. It still is when you remember, but then it's politics.
What went wrong?
I will not say this here, even to you. But I'll call you later and say, to the best of my knowledge, there are always three sides to the story. You know it. But I think we have a good idea of the story.
Because what is hanging over his head is that he has a security problem.
Oh, that's bullshit. Sorry, I can say bullshit. That's that's not true. It'll end up connected to the Southern Kaduna story. That's not true. We're not that story that I've learned on Twitter. Body bags in it. No, we don't. If I
is it about politics though?
No, it is. It is
pure
politics. It certainly is.
Is it that some people don't want him to be on that cabinet?
But you and I know even before this, Ashwaju and Malam were never the best of pals. Not that they were fighting. Because Ashwaju is way his senior politically. But, there have been many remarks that Malam has said, retired godfathers in Lagos. You remember that. So he's never, I think in the president's camp, Malam was very close to Governor Arebe Shola. So I don't think within the camp of the president, you have many people rolling their pom-poms for Malam Nasir El-Rufai. They did because he made they believed he played a key role along other governors in ensuring power moves to the south. And he did, but it's not like they've always been jolly. There's been mutual respect there. Malam looked up to what Ashwaju did as governor in 1999, the tax code in Kaduna, which he wrote himself alongside Jimmy Lawal and Ayo Ekpo. We Kaduna copied Lagos's tax code, not exactly, but, so he looked up to Ashwaju as a governor, but they've never been always on the same camp. Malam was in CPC, Ashwaju was in ACN, so there are things. You
know what they say on the other side?
No, I don't.
Is that he wants to be president.
That's not true.
And that he wants to use that office he's given to him to become president in 2027.
Yeah, but as a politician, I'll ask you this question. If he had become minister and had fixed the power solution, wouldn't Nigerians vote for him? So maybe there are politicians that thought that way. But may God curse politicians like that. How do you know you're alive tomorrow? There are people dying today because there's no light in their local government in a primary healthcare center. So because you don't like Nasir El-Rufai, you affect that, then you better wait for God to answer you. No amount of Umrah or going to Jerusalem will save you. If you stop improving the lives of common Nigerians because of politics, may God help you.
How painful was that for Nasir El-Rufai?
No, it wasn't as bad for him as it was for us. I think he saw it coming. He's a very smart man. He was not, ready. And as you recall, the senator that tried to lay the petition, if you recall, Malam tried to answer him right there. And then they blocked it. So as soon as we left, he said, they're blocking me answering them for a reason. He was never ready. But I spoke earlier about us not being fanatics, I guess. But we are people of faith, Sheon. And it's the same in Christianity. Whatever God has written is written, and maybe there's a prayer in Hausa where we say, Allah yazaba mana mafi alheri. That is, may God choose what's best for you. You might think having 1 billion naira is what's best for you. But what if you get 1 billion naira and suddenly your lifestyle changes, you stop coming to see your parents, so it's not like that. He's okay though. We speak at least on the daily. As I told him I was coming to be interviewed by you. He's in Cairo now, and I think he's a bit tired. You've interviewed him many times. You know how my father works. He got tired towards the end. I think he never recovered after COVID. The pain of going through COVID. And in COVID, again, back to being a fanatic. He was the first governor to stop Salah prayers. And Muslims in Kaduna cursed him. It cost us politically. If he's such a fanatic, why would he stop Eid prayers from happening? But every scientific report then showed we should isolate. So I think Nigerians are not very logical when it comes to my father or my family, but we don't care really, because those that love us tend to love us seriously, and those that don't like us detest us seriously. Maybe there's a silver lining in between.